Okay, so on this problem, we're wanting to simplify this expression, simplify it. And to do so, oops, let me go back to where we were at there. Okay, so to simplify this expression, we can't like cancel those 3x squareds and or anything else for that matter, or these x's. The reason is because we have adding, subtracting. When you have adding and subtracting, you can't cancel things. So what do you do instead? Let me write that. So when we have adding, subtracting, we need to factor, because you cannot cancel added, subtracted items. It's just not true. Like I could prove it real quick. You have 4 plus 2 over 2. That's really 6 over 2, which is 3. And if you cancel the 2's, now you've made it 4. See how it's just not true? Math is just following the truth here. If you have added items, you can't cancel them. It just gets you to the wrong answer. It's just not true. So, okay, so what do? You factor instead. So what do I mean by factor? Well, I mean, we're going to come in here and we're going to look at the top and the bottom. And the first thing is you say, hey, is there something in common? The answer is no, not on this. They don't all have an X, because the 4 doesn't have an X. Huh? They don't all have an X, and there's no number that goes into 3, 13, and 4. There's no number. If there was something kind of like if that had an X back here, for example, then I would put an X in the front and one big parenthesis. That's what you do first. You look for something in common, like all 3 terms have the same letter or have some number that divides into all of them. In that case, you put whatever's in common in the front and one big parenthesis. Same thing on the bottom. You look for something in common, put it in the front, whatever, and one big parenthesis, but there's nothing in common on the bottom either. So what does that mean we do? We just go right to the 2 parentheses, don't we? Let's go right to the 2 parentheses. We skip the 1 parenthesis step. You try for the 1 parenthesis step first if they have something in common. But if they don't, go right to the 2 parentheses. Okay, so how do you do the 2 parentheses? Well, that's the multiply, add, multiply. Remember that? We're saying what can multiply to be 3x squared? Well, that's going to be 3x and x, right? Multiplies to be 3x squared. And then you jump to the multiply at the back. So do the 2 multiplies first, the front and the back. So what multiplies to be 4? Well, there's a couple options there. It could be like 2 and 2, or it could be 4 times 1. How do you know which one? You just got to check them. Now, what signs do we need? Well, positive. Everything's positive on this one, right? On the top one anyway. So it's going to be both positive. So let me check it. Turns out this is wrong. This will not work. And I'll switch it to 4 and 1. Let's see it. If you check, you go first to both, second to both. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go 3x plus 2 times x plus 2, right? I'm going to go boom, boom. And I'll get 3x squared plus 6x, boom, boom, plus 2x plus 4. That's 8x in the middle, isn't it? That didn't work. Nope. Not supposed to be 8x in the middle. It's supposed to be 13x in the middle. So what do we do? That didn't work. So how do I fix it? I swap the order, don't I? I take this, or not swap the order, sorry. You change it to 4 and 1. Instead of 2 and 2, right? 2 times 2 multiplies to be 4, but so does 4 and 1. Yeah, but what order? Well, I'm going to do it wrong again on purpose, just to show you that you need to check it. So I'm going to do 4 and 1 in that order. It turns out it's actually 4 and 1 in the other order. So let's check this one now. You just got to keep checking. So 3x plus 4, x plus 1. Here we go. Boom and a boom. 3x squared plus 3x. Boom and a boom. Plus 4x plus 4. Those 2 in the middle make 7x. That's not right. It's supposed to be 13x in the middle. Now swap the order, right? Because with the 2 and the 2 we just did a second ago, obviously there was no purpose in swapping the order. They're the same. But with 4 and 1, it could be either order. Turns out it needs to be the other order. So it needs to be, wait, that's what we just had, right? Yeah, the 1 coming first and the 4 at the back. That's going to be right. Let me check that one. We know we're checking everything in the world. Here, let me erase some of these checks. Oops, we just have so much space here. Go back and check. So I'm going to erase these. And now I'm going to check. This one will work. 3x plus 1, x plus 4, boom and a boom. 3x squared plus 12x, boom, boom, plus 1x plus 4. See how they make 13x in the middle? Perfect. That's what we want. That's the correct one. So we've got that right. So now the top is right. Now it's time to do the bottom. So now on the bottom, how are we going to make that work out? On the bottom, again, it's multiply, add, multiply. We want two things that multiply to be 3x squared, to be 3x and x again. And then they have to multiply at the back to be -1. So what's that going to be? Well, it's going to be a +1 and a -1. But how do you know which one's positive and negative? Well, you check, right? And by the way, there's no other options on this. This one's nice. It's got to be 1 times 1. So let's check. So I'm going to check 3x plus 1 times x minus 1. Here we go. Boom and a boom. I get 3x squared minus 3x, boom and a boom, plus 1x minus 1. And then in the middle, minus 3x plus 2x. You know, think about gaining weight and losing weight. You lose 3 pounds and gain back 1 pound. You lost 2 pounds, right? Is that right? Whoops, it's supposed to be minus 1 back there. Is that right? Minus 2x in the middle? No, it's supposed to. Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, that is right. Yes. So it turns out I got it right. Now, if that had been wrong, I would have switched the signs. What I meant to do. I meant to do it wrong, but I did it right. So if that had come out plus 2x in the middle instead of minus, then I would have went back and I would have made this guy minus and that guy plus, just switch the signs. Anyway, it's all good now. And by the way, you could have do you want to speed this up? Look, if you have 3x and 1 on the bottom and you got 3x and 1, you know it's going to be plus. They're going to make a match, aren't they? So it makes sense it's going to be plus. All right, so now we can cancel these guys, right? Why? Because these are times. One, that's why we factor. Remember, you cannot cancel added, subtracted items like we talked about in the beginning. We showed that's just not true, but you can cancel multiplied items. That's why we do this. I want you to see why are we doing all this crazy work? Well, because we have to. It's just the truth, right? Remember, we looked at 4 plus 2 over 2, and we said that's really 6 over 2, which is 3, showing you cannot cancel those 2's because then it would be 4, right? You can't cancel added items. But if they were times, that would really be 8 over 2, it'd really be 4. Now it's okay to cancel, huh? You see that? That proves it's okay to cancel times items. You just can't cancel added items. So that's why we factor. That's why we do the parentheses, because then they're times, they're multiplied. So it's okay to cancel. So what do we have left? X plus 4 on the top, X minus 1 on the bottom. And there we go.